As a rookie police officer, I thought I was prepared for anything. But nothing could have prepared me for the night I responded to a distress call at an abandoned building on the outskirts of town. The building oozed with a sinister aura as I stepped inside. Dust-covered furniture and broken windows painted a scene of neglect. A flickering light bulb swung overhead, casting erratic shadows that danced along the peeling wallpaper. A sense of unease settled in my gut as I explored the desolate corridors. The silence was deafening, broken only by the distant sound of my own footsteps. A chill slithered down my spine, warning me that something was horribly wrong. As I entered a dimly lit room, a putrid stench assaulted my senses. I gagged, my heart pounding against my chest. And then I saw it, blood-soaked walls, symbols etched in crimson, and a decaying figure slumped in the corner. Fear tightened its grip on me as I stumbled backward, fumbling for my radio. But to my horror, the communication device was dead, devoid of any signal. Panic consumed me as I realized I was trapped, cut off from the outside world. Whispers filled the air, their haunting voices growing louder and more sinister. Shadows moved along the walls, contorting into grotesque forms. I tried to make sense of it all, but the lines between reality and nightmare blurred. In the depths of that cursed building, I became a prisoner of my own fear. Each step I took, the horrors multiplied, tormenting my sanity. I could no longer distinguish between friend and foe, as twisted figures closed in, their eyes empty voids of malice. With every ounce of strength I had left, I broke through a barricaded door, stumbling into the moonlit night. My heart raced, sweat drenching my trembling body. The building loomed behind me, a monument to the unspeakable horrors within. I fled, vowing never to return. But the nightmares persisted, invading my dreams, and haunting my waking hours. The disturbing police horror I had encountered had scarred me forever, a reminder that evil lurks in the darkest corners, even within the walls that are supposed to protect us. The night was heavy with anticipation as we received a distress call from an isolated farmhouse. My partner and I arrived, our flashlights cutting through the darkness like desperate beacons. The eerie silence settled in, causing an unsettling unease to crawl up my spine. Inside the decrepit farmhouse, a nauseating stench assaulted our senses. Bloodstains adorned the walls, leading us through a maze of horror. Each step echoed ominously, intensifying our trepidation. A flickering light bulb illuminated a macabre scene, a room filled with mutilated bodies, their lifeless eyes staring into oblivion. Panic threatened to suffocate me, but duty pushed me forward. As we moved deeper into the house, an unsettling sound echoed from the basement. A bone-chilling moan, an unmistakable cry for help. We descended into darkness, our hearts pounding against our chests. In the murky depths, we discovered a hidden chamber. Shackles lined the walls, their sinister purpose evident. A lone figure stood in the center, emaciated and twisted, their eyes filled with madness. My partner approached, compassion in his eyes, but it was a fatal mistake. The figure lunged, unleashing a feral rage. The sound of tearing flesh and desperate screams filled the room, blending into a symphony of horror. I stumbled backward, terror paralyzing me as I watched my partner's lifeblood stain the cold concrete floor. In that moment, I knew escape was my only chance for survival. The house seemed to convulse, its malevolent energy devouring my sanity. Shadows danced along the walls, their tendrils reaching out to claim me. I ran, desperation pushing me forward. As I burst through the front door, the farmhouse erupted into flames, its monstrous secrets consumed by the inferno. I collapsed on the dew-soaked grass, my mind shattered. The disturbing police horror had shattered my faith in justice. The darkness that lurked within the walls of that farmhouse would forever haunt my nightmares, a reminder of the evil that hides beneath the surface, waiting to engulf us all. It was a night like any other when the call came in, a disturbance at an abandoned mental asylum. My fellow officers and I braved the darkness, unaware of the terror awaiting us. As we stepped inside, a suffocating stillness enveloped the air. The flickering lights cast grotesque shadows, playing tricks on our minds. The asylum whispered secrets, its dark history palpable. We cautiously ventured deeper, our flashlights revealing graffiti-covered walls and decaying corridors. Each creak of the floorboards echoed like a scream in the night. Dread settled in the pit of my stomach. In a forgotten cell, we discovered a room bathed in eerie red light. Symbols covered the walls, etched in blood. A chill gripped my heart as I recognized the signs of a demonic ritual. The air grew thick, suffused with an otherworldly presence. Panic spread among us as we realized we had stumbled upon an unspeakable evil. Shadows danced, morphing into grotesque shapes that whispered of our impending doom. One by one, my comrades fell victim to unseen forces. They were torn apart, their screams echoing through the asylum's forsaken halls. I ran, desperate to escape the clutches of the supernatural. As I reached the exit, a demonic entity materialized before me, a twisted amalgamation of flesh and nightmares. Its blood-red eyes bore into my soul as it uttered an unholy chant. I was paralyzed, unable to move as it closed in. But just as the entity lunged, a blinding light filled the room. An ancient sigil carved into the floor erupted in flames, repelling the demonic force. I was free. As I stumbled out of the asylum, its demonic presence dissipated into the night. My body trembled, my mind haunted by the horrors I had witnessed. The disturbing police horror had shown me a darkness beyond comprehension, a reminder that evil can lurk in the most unsuspecting places, waiting to consume all who dare to venture too close. I gripped my service weapon tightly as I entered the abandoned warehouse, responding to reports of a heinous crime. The air hung heavy with a foreboding silence. Shadows danced ominously, amplifying my unease. Inside, a macabre scene unfolded before me. Gruesome symbols were painted on the walls, and the floor was stained with blood. The stench of decay permeated the air. A chill ran down my spine, warning me of the impending horror. As I cautiously ventured deeper into the warehouse, whispers filled the space. Unsettling voices echoed in my ears, their words indecipherable yet dripping with malice. I pressed on, my heart pounding in my chest. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream shattered the silence. Adrenaline surged through my veins as I sprinted toward the source. But what I found chilled me to the core, my fellow officers, lifeless and contorted, their eyes vacant, as if their souls had been stolen. Terror seized me as I realized I was not alone. A presence loomed in the shadows, its malevolent energy suffocating. Panic clawed at my sanity as I struggled to comprehend the incomprehensible. In a blinding flash, a grotesque figure materialized before me, its twisted form defying all logic. Its eyes glowed with an unholy fire, promising torment and eternal damnation. It moved with a supernatural speed, closing the distance between us. I fired my weapon, each shot resonating like thunder in the desolate space. But the bullets passed through the abomination, as if it were nothing more than a specter. It reached out with gnarled fingers, its touch sending waves of agony through my body. As the darkness swallowed me whole, I realized the disturbing police horror had transcended the realm of the living. I had become entangled in a nightmare of supernatural forces. The walls of reality crumbled, and I descended into a maelstrom of terror, forever trapped in a realm where the line between life and death, good and evil, had blurred beyond recognition.